Hello everyone, welcome to our last lesson for learning Cantonese verbs for beginners. This is the basic verbs round 3. If you have not done so already, I highly recommend you to download our mobile app called Cantonese Phrases Beginners 1. This app contains flashcards, quizzes, lecture notes for various learning modules that pertains to the very beginner in the Cantonese language. The app is completely free and it works on both iPhone and Android. So let's get started. So now, for the verb to like in Cantonese, we actually use two kanjis to represent it, as you can see on the left hand side. So what this sounds like in Cantonese, well, it actually sounds like 中意. Again, for the Cantonese pronunciation of the verb to like is 中意. So the kanji on the left hand side is pronounced 中, like T-S-O-N-G, and the kanji on the right hand side is pronounced yi, or Y-I-I. Again, so the Cantonese phrase for the verb to like is 中意. So examples. Now, if I want to say I like you in Cantonese, it would actually be 我中意你. The next example that I want to provide is I like to play soccer. So in this case, we would say 我中意踢足球, which 踢足球 means playing soccer. Well, 踢 is actually means kick. So in this case, it means that I like to kick soccer, which doesn't kind of make sense in English, but that's how we say it in Cantonese. So for the verb to know in Cantonese, again, it is represented by two kanjis, which it is overall it's pronounced as 知道. Again, for the verb to know in Cantonese, we would pronounce it as 知道. So the first kanji on the left, we would pronounce it as T or T-S-E-E. We would like you to emphasize a lot on the E sound, so it's Ji. And the second kanji, it's pronounced Do, which I said D-A-O, but I would say a better example would be thinking of the word kendo, like the English word for the Japanese sword fighting art, kendo. Just remove the ken from it. That's what this would exactly sound like. So again, for the verb to know in Cantonese is 知道. So an example would be I know, which is 我知道 in Cantonese. To cook. Now, to cook in Cantonese is pronounced 煮. Again, the pronunciation for the Cantonese verb of to cook is 煮. And I would say the English representation of this would be TSUU. So you would like to have that t sound for the TS, and then have the UU pronounce the sound as U, U. So if you combine those sounds together, like the t and the U together, it'll be 煮. ju, which is similar to what the actual pronunciation of ju is. Now an example is cooking a meal or cook rice. Either way, it's the same kanji or the same pronunciation, which is ju fan in Cantonese. To read. To read in Cantonese is pronounced as dok. Again, to read in Cantonese is pronounced as dok, which I think the English pronunciation is similar to D-O-K-E, dok, except just silence the K sound a bit, so more like the pronunciation would be dok. Dok. Now example would be doksu, so reading a book, or dokse, which is the next example that I provided in kanji, which means read and write. For the verb to play in Cantonese is the pronunciation is wan. Again, the pronunciation for the verb to play in Cantonese is wan. Now, it's not as generally used as the verb to play in English, as playing soccer, playing baseball. They're all using different verbs other than this. So this is more like playing with toys or playing cards, right? And the English representation, I would say it's more or less W-A-N, wan. That would actually be pretty similar. I would give it a pass on that. So examples, well, toys actually uses one as this verb as one of those for that phrase. So for toys, it's actually called wungoi. So you realize that even though it's the same kanji, but the sound is a bit toned down in that. Instead of wan, when we use as the verb for to play. So in this example, as you see, the double kanji example that we provided is actually said wan wungoi, which means play with toys, right? And then the next example is actually called playing with cards, which is in Cantonese we would pronounce as wan pai. Okay, last one for this course that I'm giving you on Cantonese verbs. There are a lot more, but I think we should end with this, because after this you would learn most of the verbs in Cantonese. The other ones are probably you need to learn based on the situations. So to play with musical instruments, right? We would use this verb, which is called tan. Again, the verb for to play musical instruments is tan, which I think the English alphabet representation would be T-A-A-N. You would really like emphasize on the prolong of the A sound, like the ah. So here you would say ta ah. If you say it faster, like tan is good enough. So examples, if I want to say play guitar, so guitar in Chinese is very similar to English, which is guitar. So if I want to say to play guitar in Cantonese is tan guitar. So if I want to say to play piano, which is the last example that we have here, piano in Cantonese is actually called gong kam. Gong kam. So to play piano in Cantonese is tan gong kam. This concludes our lecture. Thank you for your listening. Remember, like us or subscribe to our channel for more updates on our lecture materials. Also, download our free app for your iPhone or Android. Android, if you have not already done so, for flashcards and quizzes that are related to this lecture. Also check out our website as shown in our video description on YouTube for apps and lectures for other units. Thank you. Bye-bye.